Hello, and welcome back to StarCast. This is Lisa Starr, and this is an episode which is part 2 of 2 from the FIBO event in Germany. If you listened last week, you'll know that FIBO is the largest fitness show in the world with 150,000 visitors from 129 countries. It is held every year in Cologne, Germany, and this year there was a spa and wellness day with a whole lineup of speakers that I was fortunate enough to be the moderator of. So we have broken up some of the presentations into podcasts for you to listen and hopefully enjoy. Last week, we published part 1, and this week, part 2. Today, you will hear from Laszlo Puszko on infrastructure or results, racing in the Tour de Wellness. If you know Laszlo, you'll know that he often sort of pokes us and makes us think about all of the hyperbole that we talk about with wellness. So he will tell us that we need a focused and foresighted strategy if we want to play in this wellness game. Very interesting presentation. You will also hear from Joanna Benz, who is the CEO of a longevity center in Switzerland, in Zurich. And she will speak of how they are using science and cutting-edge tools and technology to help their consumers live longer. Lastly, we'll have a wrap-up on the entire day's session of speakers from Andrew Gibson and Sven Huckenbeck, who helped to organize. So I hope you enjoy episode 2 from FIBO, and thanks for listening. Our next speaker, who I'd like to welcome to the stage, is Dr. Laszlo Puszko. Laszlo is well known to many of us, but I hope if you have not yet seen him speak, you will, I'm certain, be inspired by his talk. Laszlo is the CEO and co-founder of HTWW Life, which is a professional services company that looks at the whole spectrum of health and travel in all the different silos. He is going to speak to us today about the infrastructure or results in racing of the Tour de Wellness. So expect some interesting ideas and inspiration. Welcome to the stage, Laszlo.
Thank you so much. I want to, because we are in FIBO, so how about having some sports references? I think that makes sense. Anybody cycling? You have seen a bicycle before, have you? Yes? One of those things? All right. So how about to do, not a Tour de France business, not Giro d'Italia, we have Tour de Wellness, shall we? Shall we see what we can do about that? I think it's a reflection to one of the topics in the morning that I would be actually a very interesting little survey that we can do in the participants of this event. How many of you actually feel being stressed about looking good? Not you. I'm talking about the rest of the bunch. You know, all the pumped up people around, and asking him how many of you actually feel being stressed on a continuous basis of looking good and feeling good and working on it and checking everything and have the biofeedback and all of those things and daily looking at, am I good? Am I well? Am I well? What shall I do? So that's already in a situation that we are feeling pressure to be well. And it's really burning us out. So the bizarre thing is that wellness or well-being, if you want, or Wohlfühlen, if you wish, actually burns us out, which is a kind of a contradiction, isn't it? It should make us all very fantastic and well. It really doesn't. So that's a lot of studies, and Lululemon is not here. I didn't see it anyway. But it shows that it's really the confirming, the having been confirmed by others and the peers. So it's a massive tension in this business. We used to have status anxiety that's being replaced with health anxiety. So we are anxious. Of course, the people who care, they're anxious. Those who don't care, they're not anxious. They're just fat, probably. They just don't necessarily care too much about that. And, I like this word. I think it's good after lunch. The exhaustipated? You know the word? Too tired to give a shit. That's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, that's what it is. You're just being exhausted by it. So shall we do a little bit of reality check? This is in Boots in England. You can buy vitamins and you can buy wellness, right? Don't even ask me what that is. But this is on the shelf, just right next to each other. If you go to a lovely German shop, probably you can guess which one that is. And then you can buy wellness things, as in hair dryers, shavers, gentlemen, should you wish to. So it's a product. Yep. This is one of my favorites, the slow swimming holiday. It's like, what? Slow swimming? It's a lovely label. People are really, excited about it. BBC is having it on one of these headlines. Slow swimming. I mean, most people would do slow swimming, wouldn't you? I mean, that's what people do. Except if you're a professional swimmer, you would do fast swimming, but most people would just swim per se. But it's a thing, apparently. And I really like that, especially in a place like this. Just look at the tag that you are starving with an expensive pee. Yeah, and sorry about after lunch. It's being very graphic, but that's what it is to many people. And it became a product that's from board Panda. If you wanted to go to Czech Republic, you can go to the wellness land, but it's beer wellness. It's up to you. You tell me what that is. All right? So now we need to get a little bit ready for the tour, as a tour de wellness, shall we? A little bit more seriously. One of the many studies in the world suggesting of what wellness means to customers and to businesses. So it's health, fitness, nutrition, appearance, sleep, and mindfulness. Have you heard this before in the morning? Yes. How many times? Every time. But still, how do we actually do it? What shall we do about this? There is a segment in European segmentation which is called wellness pragmatists, confirming you need to have results and as soon as humanly possible, and not just saying sometime, someday it might happen. And also, you need to have the verified claims, not just promising certain scenarios. I really like Joe Pine, who created the experience economy. And now they're moving into transformation economy. And Joe was giving this presentation that we don't really provide solutions and opportunities. We are selling technology and equipment, like hair. Sorry about the business, but there you go. So it's a very relevant observation that this is not what people actually seek. I don't care about your equipment and care about what it does to me. That's the result. That's one of my favorite topics, and I'm not sure that many of these lovely people around this stand actually have been involved in this, as in health equity, not equality. Equality is that everybody would have access to something. Equity is something different. Equity is that you are able to actually achieve what you can, not just being offered the same service. And this is what, for example, a fitness industry can do to become enabling agent, especially to men, may I add, because as you look around, it's, 82% would be men around here, most of those. So it's enabling. But how do we do this health equity per se? To understand what equity is, this is equity. This is not equality, this is equity. You see the difference? Everybody is at the same eye height. Why? Because this is equity, because we don't have any kind of difference. Because even height represents hierarchy. So this is what health equity is. So this is the translation of it. But the question is how we can actually do that, let's say in hospitality or whatever scenario. Value chains, and Alina, value chains, you are quite familiar with all of those, and everybody is. So how we are moving up on the engagement, collaboration, innovation, interaction. Where are we? What do we expect? What is it we're offering to our guests? I really like to have just a little bit of a overview of these engagement options. Somebody is going to try this lovely Garini chair, all right? Someone might have an accidental, just, it looks good, why don't I try it? Or you become like an addict and you say, I want to do it on a weekly basis. There's a whole range. Or you want to do Sri Lanka and Ayurveda, you do it once because you are curious and then eventually become dedicated and you do it at home as well. So it's a whole range. We cannot expect that everybody's going to jump in the adoption phase. It doesn't work like that. And it really doesn't work in terms of transformation, because most of the people who are already adopted a healthy lifestyle, they do zero transformation. They do confirmation. I'm too philosophical now, a little bit, but you understand. So those who are already healthy, they look for confirmation. So you don't sell them transformation again because they're already done. They converted. Preaching to the converted, that's the business. That's his whole business is preaching to the converted. So this is when hotels or spas would no need to aware of what they do. Couple of examples. You know what these people do? Nothing. As in nothing. And the winner is who really can do nothing. Is it wellness? I don't care how you call it. I don't care. But the results of it would be contributing to this person's well-being. Because finally, I can master of doing nothing. When was the last time that you did nothing? This year? Yes. Last year? Maybe? Ever? Right. Dentist has a wellness hub. Do you like to go to the dentist? Anybody likes to go to the dentist? You would be a little bit perverted. I might add that going to the dentist is your hobby. That's one thing, but massage chairs, noise cancelling headphones, I would love those. I don't want to hear any of that thing that's going on. And you watch your favorite Netflix show and then being drilled at the same time. Perfect. Perfect. Would you call it as a wellness place? Would you? Not really, but it becomes an experience design task. I understand what your concerns, stress points are, and I do something about it. This. I haven't seen this shirt. If you can see one over here, tell me if I would like to buy one. Why? Because it does this. So you can go home now because you sweated enough. You did the job. It's not like 20 minutes done. I sweated them. I sweat a lot, so I would go home in 5 minutes. So that's easy for me. But you understand the logic, don't you? That it gives me some sort of feedback, gives me some sort of message that, yes, you've done the work. You have a gratification. Yes, you can go home now. This is one of the hotels in Barcelona. What kind of scent you would like in your room? You can choose when you check in. You know, that's a minor issue, but has a major impact on your stay, doesn't it? What kind of scent you have, and not the usual hotel kind of situation. This is one of my favorites. Have you ever been doing disco footing? Disco footing, anyone? I haven't seen in any of the halls. It's football combined with ballet. Google it. You have your mouth open. I'm not joking. It's fabulous. It's crazy, but you do some, kick the ball and then you plie. And then you kick the ball again and you're doing the jeté. And so it's fantastic. Is it a thing? I have no idea, but people like it. Is it wellness? I should think so. Don't need to call it that way, but it should think so. This is Korea. Koreans are very, to the point. This would be fun over here. Down in the escalators, checking who walks up and who takes the cases. But it's a very powerful message, isn't it? Now a little bit more seriously, somatic wellness. Someone has pain in the hip. Where would the person go? Orthopedic specialist, physiotherapist, something. Yeah, probably wrong, because you're actually storing stress in your hip, because that's where we tend to store stress. So you actually should be distressed and not treated by a therapist, not that kind of therapist. But you don't know, because instantly you go to an orthopedics line. But somatic is about where we store certain things in our lives, in our bodies, because it's trapped. Is it wellness? Yeah. Pain management, pain prevention. You tell me what it is. But again, we know what triggers it. This is called teenagers. Age, you have 65 plus packages and God knows what else. This is wrong. Teenagers are anyone who technically are beyond the teenager period, but they still want to behave like teenagers, called teenagers. Germany is not an unusual thing, isn't it? That's what people do. And I really like the ladies. They are really cool. One of the fly-by studies says, finally, that the people actually enjoying doing nothing, which is joy of missing out, JOMO and not FOMO. This is what people actually looking for as a package, which will be one of the things I believe in FitRaisin as well, that they're looking for a JOMO package and not a FOMO package. This is started around the COVID period, when you have a land art combined with yoga, plus you have the necessary distance between people. But you wouldn't feel it as a restriction, would you? You would feel it, wow, I want to go. Why? Because, again, someone was thinking, not just doing things for once. Experience design. One of the things that we have been doing, and I know that a couple of you already talked about it, and thank you for those who participated, looking at the wellness for men business, fishing. Fox News, as we know, it's a trustable source of information, suggested that fishing and health benefits, all men who go fishing, they are actually doing wellness activities. Not for the fish, but for men. Czech tourism, they have a new campaign where all targeting activity-oriented guests, such as the unexpected campaign is unexpected yoga pose. This is the language that you talk to men, for example. Yoga, no. Cycling, heavy, rocks, risky, yes, bring it on. The studies they did, it's all physical for men. Look around. It's all physical. And the reason why, for example, men looking for wellness is distress, energy, recharging, and a little bit of prevention. Not pampering, not relaxation. It's energy and recharge. That's very different from most of the, let's say, wellness provision in facilities, because it's all about relaxation and all of that. It's not about recharging. I want to introduce you to these guys. This is Scottish yoga in kilts. Kilts? Gentlemen, you would like to have kilts on? That's very freeing, apparently, as an experience. Because, when you do certain poses, the kilt would sort of do certain things. I don't show you the third photo because that would be illegal. But you can Google it. But these guys became a thing. Practicing yoga in kilts in the Scottish Highlands, it's a thing. It's a following. People go, they try it, they love it, they're energized. They are looking for something different, not just yoga in a studio that everybody is oming. It's different. It has the physical aspects of it, but these guys are qualified yoga instructors. They're not just making this up. They're really professionals. And one of the latest is the mask retreat in Italy, in Palazzo di Varignana. It's creating specially for men, about energy, again. So it's really, really happening, as we understand. Since we have a lot of cultural backgrounds here, I wonder how many of you could recognize your own, because these are happiness systems that exist around the world. Not just the usual Ikigai and Lagom and all of that, but beyond. There's so many of those. And I would like to see how Gemütlichkeit is translated into a product. I would love to see that. Seriously, I would love to see that. Why? For example, men also like storytelling. They like to immerse themselves in a story, something that has cultural and also has some local relevance. So look around, there's so many of those. People have been looking for happiness and balance forever. It's not a new thing, it's not a business thing, it's a life thing. So you can put a bloody big number on it, but it's still a life thing. And people have been doing it very differently. Go to Norway, you have to do it on your own. You go to Costa Rica, you have to do it with 100,000 people around you. Depends. It totally depends. So, couple of take-home messages. Why? That's why. The spa is a place to be. Wellness is what you buy. I'm sorry. That's what it is. But well-being is to work for. You're never done. It's a terrible news because you're never done. So when you talk about longevity, yes, it's done one day. You don't want to go there, but you will. So, I don't want to be dramatic, but you know what I mean. So it's never done. So it's short-term, long-term. You have to do it. 1 weekend will not do it. 1 week is not going to do it. You might be influenced, might be triggered, excited, but it's not enough necessarily. So it's a very simple business we are in. You want to be well, be better, or feel well and feel better. Done. Forget all the wellness books. That's the business. And how the hell we are doing this? That's the business, isn't it? It's very simple. And then you have the science and you have the equipment and all of those ideas. So talking about Tour de Wellness, this has the pointers. Runner-up. You might actually want to be a runner-up. You don't necessarily want to be on the top, do you? Not everybody wants to be on the top. You want to be, just doing your lovely business in the back. Tangible businesses, tangible assets, products, beds, design. Something is tangible. No story, no software. It's just, the usual hotel thing. If you want to be an off the back, how far are you familiar with cycling references? Off the back, this is what you do in Tour de France, for example. Then you have relabeling your facilities with wellness, just in case, because that sells apparently. But if you want to be Peloton, so now you're in the middle, now you're getting better. Then you have some sort of wellness DNA of your brand, of your place, of your product, of your hotel, or your destination. Some sort of it, but design is key. And you have some sort of balance between tangible and intangible. If you want to be a drafter, actually there is a category that people want to be drafters because leading is hard. It's risky, it's hard, it's expensive, and you don't want to be. You do it, so you do something beautifully which is tried and tested. There's nothing wrong about it, doing it well, tried and tested. But if you want to be an escapee, as in escaping from the crowd, you need to be all about intangible, innovator. Yes, you might find some products where the best ideas are not tangible. They are intangible. And this is how you can grab attention. This is how people can relate to you. So this is the kind of suggestion there. So bottom line, trigger points. People have 10,562 different trigger points. And it may change. Tuesday, this one, Wednesday, that one, Sunday, that one. So you need to understand, and relaxation is not a trigger point. It's not a trigger point. Escaping is a trigger point. Let's say relating to others is a trigger point. There's also other trigger points that make you do your homework. Consciousness means to purposeful tourists and visitors. Conscious guests look for something completely different. You can't blind them with some fluffy cushions and beautiful design because they will say, seriously, what are you doing? Enabling guests to have their health equity. That's the most beautiful task that you can have. Not if you have 300 rooms. Then forget it. You might have a little clinic that does it, or maybe a floor does it, but not everybody. But you need to understand this is the long-term business opportunity. Here, health assets and stories that we have heard earlier before. And do touch points. Don't expect everybody to jump on a bandwagon and instantly going full-blown whatever wellness you're offering, because you're not going to do it. Give them touch points and opportunities to be engaged and try to find their point. And of course, rituals, journeys. That's, the usual story, right? That we understand. Why? Because in spite of all of that beautiful things, I still meditate, burn candles, and drink green tea. I still want to smack some people. Agree? Sadly, yes. So we don't think that everybody is on 100%. It doesn't work like that. And I really like that, which is the kuchisabishi, which is when you're not hungry, but you eat because your mouth is lonely. That's an expression in Japanese. It's fantastic. And this is how we behave. Thank you.
Thank you, Laszlo, for waking us up after lunch and making us laugh. Can you go back 2 slides to the do and don't? Yes. So when we look at the list on the left, that's what mostly we're doing. We're doing what everyone else does. We're selling treatments. We buy the equipment. We put spa on the door and we say, okay, our work is done. But you're saying no.
You may do that. That's a one way of doing it. And you can be successful. You can be a good craftsman. You can do a good job, but you're not going to take the lead. You're not going to change the way in which anything is provided. You're a good craftsman, but you're not an innovator. And innovators are really shaping the whole business of what's being tried and tested or not yet tried and tested. And I think what the problem is that we're overthinking, overcomplicating things. And then when you have diagnostics of 20 different items and you lose the person in the middle, it's too much.
Right. So if we're on the left, how do we get to the right? I mean, how does a person who doesn't have that innovative skill set move to the right-hand column?
But the thing is that you don't necessarily need to go there. You can be comfortable in what you're doing, but still make informed decisions and learn and be aware that other people do other things. It doesn't mean that you don't know about it doesn't exist. You need to check, and you might be inspired, and you might be inspired by toys, might be inspired by, I don't know, a furniture design. I don't know. There's all many different let's say, inspirational points you can collect. And, all these examples that I showed you, it's coming from all around. It's not just all from the wellness world, shall we say.
So it sounds like we need to have a piece of self-awareness to know that we don't know things and how to get extra help, advice from consultants, from advisors, from people that are selling equipment. But as an operator, you may not know what you don't know.
Yes, that's exactly the case. And then you go for the comfortable road. You know that I don't quite know a lot about it anyway, so I don't want to try anything new. I go that way even if I don't really believe in it, but that's what everybody does, so I should do that too.
So, Laszlo, we've been in this space a long time, and I know you can be skeptical about wellness and the commercialization of it, and yet that's why we're here, right? We're all here because we want to make money in wellness, in the wellness pavilion. So how do we journey forward from wellness to well-being as in a commercial way?
Well-being is not commercial. That's the bottom line. It's a science.
It's the result.
I don't know. There's a lot of wellness products you can buy and use, and it does nothing to you, no good whatsoever.
But you maybe think it does.
Yes, mentally,
that's
yes.
somewhat helpful, right?
And that's when we work with clients. When you look at the well-being wheel, all that many domains, and you need to check, what do I want to achieve? Psychological, intellectual, physical, social, financial, whatever that is, and you need to aim for that. But you need to be aware that even if you're going for that one, and you might lose that one. So it's all interlinked, all of them interlinked.
So it sounds like as a brand, you need to have a very clear vision and purpose to work towards, so you know when you stray from the path, that you have to come back to the right direction.
Yeah, again, informed decisions, be aware, and recognize things that could be interesting for you. But when you are so intervened with operations, it's very difficult because you don't have the time, you don't have the staff to look out, because you do the daily grinder of the work. It's not easy.
I don't know what you see, but I think that many operators are so immersed in their business. As you say, you're working all the time. You don't get to get out and see what other people are doing. And it's so important when you travel, you come to Cologne, you want to see what's happening in other parts of the world, and you might get a great idea, and you might get a great idea of what not to do as well. But it is important to step outside your own operation and be a customer and see what the opportunities are.
Agree.
Thank you for joining us. All right, I'm going to introduce Joanna Benz, our last and best save for last speaker of the day. Joanna is the founder of a longevity clinic in Switzerland, and she is also the founder of the International Longevity Society. So she's a longevity expert, but she told me she won't really be one until she's 101, which looks like it's a long way off from what I can tell. Joanna's going to share some slides with us, and then we will take some questions. So welcome to Joanna.
Hello, very, 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 very happy to be here. Today we have a bit of an unusual topic, and very new slides. So we are covering longevity from the context of luxury. So I wanted to, so let's wait for the slides. So luxury meets science, longevity as a business model. Lisa kindly introduced me. I am based in Warsaw, but also in Zurich. We have 2 clinics, and my main focus is really to make sure that we are helping people to understand their current state of health in the context of longevity, but also to motivate them to change in the context of living longer, living healthier, improving their health, vitality, and also their lifestyle. Redefining luxury in the modern world. This was a topic of our discussion, but today luxury is really, really evolving. And from traditional luxury defined as a wealth, car, jewelry, exclusive vacations, I think we are moving into really understanding and feeling luxury and experiencing luxury in the context of really time, purpose, good quality of health, freedom, but also human experience. And I think the previous speaker and a few other speakers were talking a lot about human experience. Longevity is actually for us the ultimate luxury. In the context of clinics, we are really not about living forever. We are not even about living to 150 or 120, but it's really to keeping you at your best in terms of your physical and emotional health at any stage of life, whether you are 20, you are 30, or you are 50. This is the purpose of, and this is what should be the purpose of longevity clinics. What is really new, of course, we are focusing first of all on the medical aspects, on improving different areas of your hormones, of your diet, of your exercise. But what is really not yet widely discussed in the context of longevity, and I think it's starting getting traction, it's other aspects like surrounding yourself with beauty, with art, with positivity, and also with music. These are some slides from our clinic in Zurich. We have decided to also partner with one of the galleries so that we can also, our clients can also experience other aspects of beauty while they are with our centers. Another area that we are studying extensively is music. And I'm not talking about singing bowls. I'm really talking about music, the different type of music impacting different type of people, but also music and vibration. I mean, there's many studies, especially in Zurich. There's a number of studies with the University of Zurich and ETH to really understand why and what type of music is impacting our health and in what way. And I think also in the context of hospitality, this is something that is being already analyzed as well. So longevity is the new currency. Of course, we have the science and the tools to understand how you age. We can measure about 60 different biological clocks. We can tell you how old your different organs are at the given day. But what is really important is to create also an environment of wanting for you to want to change and also to start your process, your journey of impacting your longevity and also improving your health. For me and for our clinic, longevity is not about the physical health. And it's not about your body mass density, not only body mass density or your cortisol level, but we also look at your emotional health. We look at your brain. We look at your psychological resilience. And I think we see that this is much more important than we ever understood before. And it's very strongly impacting the effect of your medical, of your physical health. The science of longevity also, I mean, one of the most important areas for us is definitely to focus on building your resilience, but also your physical resilience. And today we can personalize it very, very strongly. In fact, we are actually now specializing, especially my doctors, I have a number of doctors that are focusing on sport medicine. We are very much into adaptive training, into really understanding what type of exercise would be good for what type of personality. And of course, stress resilience is one of the most critical biomarkers for longevity. Breath work, I think this is something that we use in our clinic, but many clinics don't seem to see it too esoteric. But actually, we study breath work in a very detailed fashion. We have a number of technologies that were mentioned also by a previous speaker that are very effective in helping you to learn how to breathe. This should be something that we are born and we should know how to do it. But you'd be surprised that most of us actually don't know how to breathe, or we breathe too fast, or we are not breathing the way that it's supporting our system. And also what is really, I think, very trendy at the moment in the longevity sector, and also for me, it's standards. It is standardization. It should be really personalization of your experience. And we can do it in longevity clinics. We can do it really at a very detailed way, starting from test, but also personalizing your experience. Every human is different. Every human ages differently. We react differently to different interventions, whether they are medical or whether they are more psychological. We are very, very personalized in our results. So I think I mentioned this. We are integrating in our protocols. We're integrating music, art, sensory experience, visualizations, but also meditation and different forms of meditation into our longevity protocols. And don't take me wrong, we are a very, very medically driven company. And longevity as a service, we are combining very scientifically backed diagnostics that are available, starting with genetics, epigenetics, metabolic, with personalized programs and training protocols. And just to conclude, to start our discussion with Lisa, the future of longevity, and this is actually a luxury to invest in your longevity and your wellness. So the future of longevity is really personalization and scientifically driven protocols that you can adjust to different personalities. So I mixed up the slides a little bit. Yeah. So this will be start of our conversation.
Thank you, Joanna. That's great. And it's great to see the pictures and get a sense of it. This is going to be a very off-the-cuff conversation because Joanna and I have not practiced, so it's going to be very real. And I'd like to sort of zoom back to a high level. Joanna, you are not a medical professional. You're a business person. So what made you see the opportunity in a longevity clinic, which wasn't even a thing 5 years ago? Like, tell me the story of that.
It's a very good question. I mean, we started about 6-7 years ago with actually my original idea was really to start a stress clinic, because I'm coming from being a CEO and also from a very business background. And I was looking for a place for myself that I could actually, for somebody to understand different aspects of my health, but also in terms of my cognitive, my emotional, diet, exercise. And I didn't find this place at the time, either in Zurich or in Warsaw. And then digging deeper into the context of what keeps us healthy, what keeps a human actually at their best form, I came across either biohacking summits or very scientifically driven longevity summits that were mainly about science. But there was very little in between. There was very little in terms of medical applications into clinics or practical, not to mention hotels. I think there was, of course, some hotels that were already doing certain wellness services, but for me, this was not medical enough. Also, what is really important for me and also for my partners and investors, that we really want to be affordable. And we are looking at ways how to make it accessible for more and more people to start using longevity clinics. So this was the first one. On the other side, to your question, at about 6 years ago, and I think still, we have very different definitions of what longevity means to different people. And if you ask futurists, they might give you a completely different answer to some of the medical professionals. Therefore, for me, longevity is to feel at your best, and also to really be able to receive tools and recommendations to stay healthy as long as possible. So healthy longevity or health span rather than lifespan.
I'm really glad you said that, because I'm thinking, what is longevity anyway? I mean, it's not a word we are used to seeing. We're seeing it a lot now. It's very trendy. It sounds like something I want, right? But what does it mean, and how do I know if I have it? Like, is it measurable?
And this is another very interesting question, because at the moment there is more collaboration between clinics and there is more collaboration between doctors through different organizations specializing in we call it responsible longevity. Because if you talk about living longer, you really need to understand where you are today. So therefore we talk about, maybe it's boring, but we talk about personalized medicine, preventive medicine, but this is the absolute base of where you should start. I mean, before you talk about living to 120 and take all the supplements and do all sorts of different things, you really need to fix some of the basic elements that are missing in your diet, exercise, supplementation, or even maybe your medical story to start with the baseline, and then you can optimize. And so for me, longevity is really personalized recommendations to keep you at your best at any age.
So who is your target customer? I mean, you're in Zurich. People have a lot of money in Zurich. They probably live a very long time. They're very healthy. They have great skincare in Switzerland, so everyone's beautiful. What makes a person want to seek out a longevity clinic? What are you finding?
This is when we started 6 years ago in Warsaw at the time. Many people still thought that longevity it's only for people over 60 years old, and I think this is really one of the misperception of longevity clinics, because now we see actually younger and younger people looking for this personalized approach. So our client is between 35 and 55. These are the majority of our clients. Because they are really looking at more personalized recommendation on how to, and also verification of where they are on their journey. This is also the best moment to start if you want to have the best results. What we started, in this case in Warsaw, we started also a special program for kids. So because we had parents, we had men bringing their girlfriends or wives and the other way around. And then they started asking, so what can we do for our kids? So we have created longevity for teens, and it's actually a very popular program, because you should really start as early as possible. To my surprise, in most of the countries, we don't have the proper education at school on, we have lots of very important educations about history and geography and so on, but really not about how to manage yourself, both from the biological point of view, but also from the psychological point of view. And most of our programs actually are starting with at the physical level, but then the next step is really to meet with your psychologist, psychiatrist, and also really to understand what kind of person are you, where are you in terms of your emotional journey, what is your approach to resilience, how resilient you are. And it's not really to manage stress or to balance your stress. It's really to learn how to be resilient at any stage of life. So majority of our clients are actually either CEOs or owners of companies. So another thing about longevity and longevity clinics, we are not giving ready solutions. We are not going to give you one pill and tell you that, okay, this is, if you do that, continue doing that, you're going to live longer. This is a constant progress. So what we can do, and also many other longevity clinics, they can only give you a guide. They can be your tour guide, and they can give you guidelines in what is best for you and personalize it in the context of your own journey. So yeah.
Walk me through what happens if I show up at your clinic and I don't really know why I'm there, but it appeals to me. Longevity, it sounds like something I want. You said that you assess where you are, which I would assume is biomarkers or your biological age, because physical has to be addressed. I mean, what is the process and how long does it take for me to feel like I'm on a program?
So, and also, I don't know, so in terms of biological age, this is a very important marker today to really understand the progress, or whether we are really reversing any aspects of your aging, because otherwise we would have to wait 30 or 50 years to see the results. The biological ages are coming from the scientific area, of course, and slowly accepted by doctors. Some of them actually have been existing in the medical use for some time, like in cardiology. There's in preventive cardiology, and there was always some kind of a cardiological age or comparison. You are, after a certain test, you were able to say how you have scored versus other people that were born on the same day. And this is more or less your biological age. Today, we can measure your epigenetic clock. We can measure different forms of inflammation through various clocks. We can measure every single organ separately, because actually we are looking for the weakest link in a way, and trying to start there. So, and these clocks are very, very important to see whether we are progressing or not. Because the benchmark, if you go to a doctor and you are sick or you have a headache, your benchmark would be, or your KPI would be, to stop the headache, to get something to actually heal this particular topic. But in the context of long life and also keeping you at your best in various aspects of your life, you have to have certain certain biological and also functional ways to see whether we are making any progress. So therefore, longevity clinics are using both these biological ages, but also many of the functional ages like VO2 max and also your fitness and BMI and so on. So therefore, this one it's an important component. What is really at the moment one of the priorities for longevity clinics and longevity doctors is really to find a unified approach to those biological ages, to standardize them, and to also correlate them with other areas of your health. Whether, for example, epigenetic clock that you measure, whether this is more improved by the way you change your diet, or maybe your hormonal health, or maybe your physical exercise. So these are some of the correlations that we are all learning how to work with them.
So again, if I show up and I say, sign me up, I want longevity. Am I a member? Do I pay by the visit? How many years does it take?
Yeah, I didn't answer this question. So depending on the clinic, in most of the clinics, you actually get some kind of a checkup. Some clinics do just blood work, and some clinics are focusing on MRI. But in general, you should really get a proper baseline assessment. And it's in some clinics, it's just membership, and in our case, it's actually you can do just the assessment and then come back maybe in 1 year to following our recommendations, whether this has improved or not. But our main focus is really to keep you in a program so that we can really personalize it. So, for example, and also at the very beginning, we're giving you lots of different recommendations that our doctors thought they will help. But we are all human. We don't like to change. We don't like big changes in our life. So the program is much easier for people to follow. So we start with, for example, certain tweaks in your diet, definitely harmonizing your hormonal health, also giving you certain medications. But for example, 50% of our clients have some kind of autoimmune disease that they were not aware of. And they come usually because they are triggered by the fact that they cannot sleep well, or they are tired, or they started gaining weight and so at some point of time. And very often, in most of cases where they go to a traditional doctor, the doctors usually don't have as much time to spend on analyzing what is really the problem. And if this is not life-threatening, they actually don't go that deep into your health journey. So you start with some kind of baseline assessment, and then we can optimize it and give you more recommendations. If you are, for example, genetically predisposed to some cancers, for example, in your family, or maybe Alzheimer, or maybe any other neurodegenerative condition, then there is a separate program for mental health and also for brain health. You don't have to do it immediately, but you can decide actually to go a bit deeper into that. Of course, you can also use a number of interventions, and we are using red light, hyperbaric chamber, cryo, very personalized training programs. So you can do it in our clinic, but also we are giving recommendations for clients to do it at home, or to do it at their own gym, wherever they come from, because some clients are local and many of the clients coming to us are actually international.
So there is a membership option, and I would come on a regular basis and have a cryo or something, hyperbaric.
Yes, but you will get it as a protocol. So, for example, if you have a metabolic syndrome, then you will get not only recommendations in terms of the medical journey, but also you will get the recommendation what is the best training regime for you. And we combine cryo with training and also with red light and hyperbaric chamber in giving you actually a protocol to follow. Because using a cryo chamber is definitely going to help, but all those technologies are actually working better in protocols based on what is actually your need. And if we combine it with supplementation, with the right diet, with the right exercise program, we can really see extremely positive results.
I mean, it's early days, right? It's not been a long study. But if I come to the clinic and I go on your protocol, how long do I keep doing that, and what could I expect to spend, like on an annual basis?
Well, because we're in Europe, and our very extensive checkup that takes about 5 hours and includes all the medical tests and also psychological and emotional. It's about 3,500 to 4,000 euro, which is much lower than in the US. Of course, you can go much deeper, taking much additional tests later on, but the baseline, which is anyway including many tests that you do maybe once in 2 years, it's more or less that. Some of the services can be covered by insurance, but at the moment, the whole longevity checkups and protocols are not yet fully in line with the insurance companies. But I think we and also many other clinics are in discussions with insurance providers.
So do you envision your clients coming like for the rest of their lives? Or does there come a point where you might say, come back every 6 months?
I see longevity clinics as really not an alternative, but complementary solution to reactive medicine. We call it proactive medicine. So that you really understand, once you really understand your baseline, you don't have to come to the clinic every year. You can, because some people want to have the personalized experience, and they like, actually, we have clients that are with us already 3 or 4 years in the program because they like the personalized touch. But some of them have met their targets, they lost weight, they improved their sleep quality, their performance, and then they're coming every 6 months for certain tests to see whether there has not been any changes in their medical results, and so really to keep it as an insurance of your guarantee of your health. We cannot guarantee everything, but we are also, this is why we started working very closely with psychologists, psychiatrists, and also with coaches, because it's not only about the doctor, it's really about changing your behavior, changing your habits. It's a very difficult thing. I mean, we don't like the change. So some clients start with a medical context, but they actually stay on more the optimization and also psychological pathway with us.
So tell me what you say to a client who says, I want to sign up for this, but I want to know what my ROI is, right? I'm going to spend all this money. How much longer will I live? And we don't know because longevity clinics haven't been around long enough. So what do you say to someone that wants to know what the payoff might be?
But we can really see this on your biological markers, and therefore most of the clinics have agreed on what are some markers that we can really associate with the medical tests, and we use them as reference points in terms of whether you are biologically younger or biologically older. So we cannot promise that you are going to live 10 years younger. But for example, I'm 53 today, and my markers, most of my biological markers, were much higher when we started, or around the same age as I was. Now, most of my biological ages are around 40. So I'm biologically 10 years younger than I should be in my age. And this is actually the only way today we can guarantee you getting feeling better and getting better. But these markers are not only, they are very much connected to my medical tests. So on the other side, it is a certain guarantee of keeping you at your best health today, and also using the existing medical tests that are available to really understand how to personalize your journey. So I think I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to be living to 150 because nobody can promise it, and I don't know whether this will be ever possible. But what we can measure today is how we can make you biologically younger and verify it every single year.
So maybe we say it's optimizing your chances, right? I mean, you're doing the best things you can. We can't tell the future. We were talking at dinner last night about Brian Johnson, the American man who is living a whole life dedicated to longevity, eating a certain way, sleeping a certain way. I mean, he's got all team of people that measure everything he does.
Biological ages again. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I know he's biologically 20 or 30 years younger than his real age.
Not in all ages. I think
Not-
some ages.
And the point is, we're all going to be dead, and maybe he'll still be here, but we won't know that, right? Because we're dead. So, what is the point of it? I think someone has to push the envelope, and I'm glad it isn't me because his life doesn't sound all that fun.
Exactly. I mean, this is why I really wanted to also talk about this in the context of luxury, because it's not about optimizing yourself all the time and measuring yourself. I'm wearing Aura, but I'm not even checking my results every few days because I can feel it already whether I sleep well or not. And I think it's really the main purpose of what we're doing is to give you tools to use it to your best advantage, but not overdo it. It's like with orthorexia and with others. I mean, you can overdo with all those tests as well. The most important is really to understand what you want to achieve in life and your purpose, your vision, and to have energy to actually follow your dreams and follow your plans. And longevity it shouldn't be the purpose, because I think this is very important as well. Longevity shouldn't be the goal. It should be really the journey that is getting you there to help you to meet your other goals, your purpose in life.
Which the goal would be perhaps health span, right? That word we're using to describe living longer, but in a healthy way.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the goals, but I think we're not only living. I think this is what Brian Johnson is trying to do. I mean, it's really health span is the only goal that he has. But I think we all have our dreams that we all have family, friends. We want to spend time with them. We want to stay as long as possible. This is our purpose. And I think health span is, and also I think it's something that will help us to do that and to enjoy it as long as possible. But I think we shouldn't overdo. Yeah, we shouldn't overdo it with anything.
We shouldn't overdo anything, right? Well, we're almost out of time, but in closing, I want to follow up on something you said, that there's not a lot of collaboration or data sharing amongst the clinics, which is, I'm assuming, why you started the International Longevity Clinic Association. So, I mean, how many members are there? What is the movement behind that been? Has it been positive?
So the idea behind it was the conference that we started about 3 years ago with Dr. Eric Verdin at the Bach Institute for Research on Aging, where we brought, to start with, about 10 clinics that are leading in the field, mainly in the US, from Cleveland Clinic to also Dr. Cooper on Fountain Life and Human Longevity and a few others, where we met and we saw, okay, this is actually very nice that we can, in one place, not only be competition, but also we can discuss what are the biomarkers that we all use and how do we correlate them. So out of this conference, we started producing white papers and we also see that there is a need for exchange between clinics because at the end of the day, there's, for example, 50 different epigenetic clocks that we know of and more coming up. And at the end of the day, many of them are measuring very different things. And then for the customer to really understand and expect exactly the same from longevity clinics, we need to standardize and we need to at least be close to standardization of certain best practices. And this is our goal. So at the moment, we have about 20 clinics that we are starting with, many of them in the US. And so out of our last conference in December, we started this association of clinics, which is mainly going to focus on joint collaboration, sharing, also anonymized results, but also doing joint observational studies. And also presenting and presenting certain recommendations to the public in terms of which, for example, biological clocks best to use in medical practice and which of the interventions are safe or we wouldn't recommend them, for example, for various reasons.
Well, thank you, Joanna, for that, for starting the association, because we'll all be looking for the data that you can share. Thank you for being a visionary to start a business like this and for joining us today. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you.
We're going to wrap up our day. Andrew and Sven are going to come back to the stage, give us 1 minute to assemble the chairs, and we're just going to have a little wrap up on what we heard today. All right, goodness, where do we begin? We heard so many things today. I feel like we've been in here for like a week, Colin. So many speakers and thoughts on longevity, on wellness, on hospitality, on luxury, on how it comes together. So Sven and Andrew, we had fun putting this together. Now it's time to talk about what did we learn? What did you hear? What resonated with you today? Who would like to go first?
Sven, you or me?
I can.
You. Gives me a chance to think. I think, we had really, really lots of information today. What are the chances? I think even in these rough times, we see a lot of opportunities how to get into the wellness business. A lot of new information in terms of how to create a healthy environment. And I think also we heard a lot about mental status and everything what we will do and everything what we'll provide starts in mind. We have to think over our claims. We're not selling claims anymore. We should sell more the purpose of what is behind to make the people feel so we are able to delivering something with purpose. Then the guests will really appreciate this, and we will talk about this, and they've been coming back for sure. And what about you, Elliot? Last time, Tim?
Yeah, I think I've had time to think. Gosh, there's so much information. Couple of things that really resonate with me. One was Ollie's little talk this morning saying that fitness is not health and fitness is not wellness. And he had his 5 different pillars that came up. And unless you embrace and look at all of those, you're not really doing it. So I think that was a really good. I think one of the themes that resonated through several of the speakers and then quite forcibly put by Alina, so it was really good, was know your customer. Really know your customer and understand who your customer is. So before you're choosing that fancy new technology that's going to help you, whether it's a hyperbaric or a red light or whatever it is, because you like it, what about your customers? Know who they are. So I think that was relevant. And I think this afternoon, to kind of sum up everything that we've listened today, I'm going to quote Claire. Am I loved? That's what she said. Am I loved? So all that technology, everything, the diagnostics we do comes down to, do the people care about me? And if you're operating a spa, a hotel, a gym, or anything about that, that's the question you should be thinking about for every member of your staff. Do they care about their guests? Know your guest.
That's a great point, Andrew. And in order to care about the guests, they have to care about themselves, which means that they need to be cared for by us as employers or managers of some, in some structure. You know, we spend so much time on business results and figures, and sometimes we forget about the people behind it. And that is at our peril, because as we're seeing, I mean, how fast things are changing with AI. Luckily, we're in fields where AI still can't give massages. Yes, there are massage robots, but they're not the same as a massage from a trained person like Jean-Guy could demonstrate for us. So we still have a place, humans, in this world, and we have to fight for that by remaining human and caring about the people. You know, as a manager, you care for the 12 or 15 or 30 people that you manage, but what about the 300 people that they touch? So if we can have our staffs get cared for, then they will take great care of our guests.
And you've made me think of two other things that picked up on today. I particularly like Laszlo's presentation that makes us think, with his subtle touch of humor in there. But it makes us think. Well, it's probably Hungarian humor. We don't quite get it, but it makes us think. I like that, and I also thought that there was a lot of technology and diagnostics that were out there, and that just shows how quickly science is moving. And what an absolute minefield of choice people have got, particularly for people that are not necessarily educated in this area. A minefield of choice of what to select. And boy, you better pick the experts to help you, because you can make some big mistakes.
And because we have this question about where to get all this stuff. And I think it's a very important topic. But please, if you get the question of where to get the stuff, try to ask yourself, how do you treat the stuff? Yeah. In the moment when you see the prices, what you asked for certain kind of services, and then you realize that the price for a really high quality treatment by an educated therapist will cost less than the changing of tires, then something is really incredibly wrong. Because I think if somebody is paid taking care about your health, he should be paid like caring about the best what you have.
We have only this one body, our set of equipment. We need to keep it moving and healthy and nourished, and we have to get sleep and do all those things to take care. And we have to make sure our staff's to be seen.
I'm just wondering whether we should ask for any questions.
I have one more thing I wanted to say, though. I had one more question. Because here we are, fitness, bridging, wellness. We've talked about longevity, hospitality. Laszlo pointed out, as a sage person would, that the word hospitality, the root is in hospital, right? Like caring for people in the medical way. That's what we're doing in hospitality. But again, is the focus always on the guest and not on the staff? Our orientation has to be to caring for those who work for us and touch the guests so they can do their best work going forward. We're at this incredible time of the blending of all of our worlds. So many of us here didn't even know what FIBO was a few years ago. And I think it's exciting, but how do we move forward? What are the next steps?
That's one of the biggest questions I have in my mind all the time. I'm kind of seeing hotels stuck in a kind of routine. Somebody talked about that earlier today, and it made me think, actually, the reason why many of the big hotel groups, the Intercontinentals, Marriotts, Hiltons, all of those groups, the real reason why they're not particularly innovative is somebody created their standards and their SOPs and their building standards 10 years ago. Nobody's bothered to update them, and the design teams just troll out the same old rubbish all the time. That's why they need us to come and help them.
Us being what? The old fogies up here and have been doing it a long time?
I think you said it, the old sage.
Yeah. Speaking about standards, there was also the same topic, when you deliver a massage, in terms of every massage should be the same, and just ask yourself if you want to have a kind of massage like this. I think everybody of us, if you want to get touched by another person in a very, very, let's say, close way, then you want to have the full attention from an expert with experienced hands, the experienced hand delivering some really helpful and technical solution.
So Sven, on a positive note to that, because I like to finish positively, on a positive note to that, what I'm now seeing in many spa menus coming into hotels is taking away the 36 different types of massages we offer and just saying, look, we will personalize to what you want. And I think that's much better. Now you've got to find the people that can do that. But if I can just digress slightly, for some of you that know that I worked with Sensei in Hawaii, which was a luxury job of creating this wonderful island of wellness and having a wellness retreat on there. And I thought to myself, what is going to be our USP that makes us different? We had Larry Ellison, the owner of Oracle, with all the data analytics and the logarithms that would spit out your perfect program for you. But what would make the difference? And I knew I got it right when Larry came in for a 10-minute consultation and spent an hour and a half with the person. What it was every single one of our guides had a PhD in something. They could be a guy that had worked with post-traumatic stress for the US Rangers. It could be somebody who had worked at Google and provided all the fitness programs for all the Googlers. It could be somebody from Harvard that had a PhD in nutrition. These were our guides. And they were able then taught in hospitality. We spent a year training them in hospitality to be able to deliver a really personalized exploration of what you need so that every single program for every guest was tailor-made and customized. And that was our USP. We didn't have all the analytical stuff like that. Ours was very much nature-driven, but it was very much a personal touch.
See, I think we should close with a brief comment on the difference between wellness and longevity.
Well, longevity is simply how long you live. There's no wellness in that. It's just how long you live. However, it's become a great marketing term to cover everything from your analytics to your nature and everything else. So it's a collectoral marketing word. But actually, the definition of it is rubbish. I mean, you'd much rather want to think of health span, which is an underused word, if you really want to do it. And it's like I said when I did my opening here, longevity is useless without quality of life. I mean, you need to have the both of them.
But I would argue that the difference is that longevity can be measured. And I don't know that wellness can be measured in the same way.
Hey, we have one expression, look good, feel good. Yeah, who cares whether you can measure wellness? I tell you what, the really good hotels create memories for people, and that makes them feel good, and they go back. Is that wellness? Well, if we ask Laszlo, it probably is. But can you define that? Can you measure it? You can't. You could probably say, well, the repeat rate of the guests must be an aspect of measuring it, but you can't. So yes, longevity does give you that tangible ability if you want to define it that way. But I think we get too stuck up sometimes in that. And we actually got to say, does the guest feel better? Do they feel better? And are they really feeling good? And that is part of the mental wellness that is very difficult to assess.
We all know when we feel good. I think that doesn't need to be measured. We're going to go to the audience for questions, and big surprise, Jean-Guy,
Okay.
I'm going to sum up Jean-Guy's question. I'm summing up Jean-Guy's question by saying, what are we doing as an industry for the people who work in it, as we've been talking about, who we expect to care for the guests day after day, 6, 7, 8 clients a day? And is that well-being for them? What are we doing as an industry to lengthen their career?
Okay, I can articulate it.
Sven's going first because he's in the actual therapist stuff.
Well, I think first of all, to answer your question is there is no overall answer for that. Of course not. Because we have to, first of all, we have to ask the client what they are looking for. What are the needs? So then they have to put certain needs like improving sleeping quality, of course, then we can act. Then we can react. Then we can put some programs together. And of course, we can use, for example, all this new invention on behalf of the industry. We have this touch of treatments, but in case we should not forget our hands-on treatments, because I think personality, who is taking care of a person to make them feel better, is the most important issue in our business.
So, well, again, positive, optimistic. What I am is normally I'm invited into projects as the spa guy. And I say, well, could we take that word out of there, please? Not spa. Let's look at wellness. And then they say, okay, what's that? And I say, well, let's start with employee wellness. Let's start there. Design and employee wellness. So the two things, if you get that right, and if your employees are happy, they will look after your guests. That will work out. So I am pleased to see more companies are starting to embrace that idea. I mean, I was just working on a project in Greece, amazingly, where they had given this whole master plan of this beautiful project. And on the other side of the road, the staff village. And of course, they were asking me what we did in the resort and everything. I said, can I have a look at that staff village? Oh, you've got this little corner here. Can I put in a swimming pool there, an outdoor sauna and steam, and a little outdoor gym for them? Why? Well, for your employees, so that they've got some place. They're going to be working in this. The second thing I think is, and I had a discussion earlier about sales and marketing not really understanding what they're selling in a hotel. Well, if they actually go in and experience it, they would sell. So if I'm working in a wellness retreat, I want every one of my employees to understand what a wellness retreat is. The only way to do that is to experience it. So I'm very much, in my work, very focused on making the employees feel good, because when they get there, you don't have to worry about the guests. They will. Everybody wants to smile. I mean, again, I'm sorry, you get me going here, you see. So when I was with Mandarin Oriental, quite honestly, is one of the best companies I've ever worked for. When I was with Mandarin Oriental, I said, what's the difference between a beauty salon and a spa? We had spas, it wasn't wellness in those days. A beauty salon sells a treatment. A spa sells an experience. Okay, that's step one. What's the difference between a spa and a good spa? Oh, a good spa is creating a good experience. I said, so what's the difference between a good spa and a great spa? You don't know. A great spa is not selling an experience, it's selling a memory. It's creating the memory. And if the memory is so good that guest wants to go out and tell a whole bunch of other people, this is so good, because Lisa remembered my name and smiled at me when I walked through the door. Wow. And that's the third time I've been met, and she still knows who I am. I'm going to go and tell everybody else. That's what we do. And that's when you get to that level, then you really got your employees proud to work for you, happy to work for you, engaged in work, and the guests come back.
Well, of course, we are selling experience, and that's hard to measure. But you know when you've had it and it's been a good one. And we can't deliver that without an engaged staff. It all comes back to that. We could have talked all day about staff. We didn't choose to do that. But as I mentioned earlier, we can't deliver what we do with AI, whether it's on the fitness side, the hospitality side, the longevity side. That's not to say AI doesn't play a role and doesn't help us, but we need humans, and we need to keep them engaged in their work, to have passion, to grow with our company, so that we can all continue the living that we love, whether it is in any of the verticals that are present in this tour. So wellness for all is the way forward, it sounds like. We're still awake out there. I'm very impressed. Thank you all for listening today. I hope you took something really valuable away to inspire you in your businesses, in your future, and we'll see you back next year.